Now it's time to welcome back my good friend and co-host Jeff Small, as well as our good friend Eddie Ghabour. Eddie's co-owner of Key Advisors Group in Delaware and is Amazon best-selling author of the book, The Common Sense Bull. Eddie Ghabour, thanks for being back on the show with us.
Thank you for having me, Dave.
Jeff?
So, Eddie, it's great to see you back on the show again. Tell us what your thoughts are on how the markets reacted to the Senate election and the presidential election. Tell me what you think.
So, frankly, we're not surprised by what happened post-presidential election. Matter of fact, we were dollar cost averaging into the market the week prior to the election when we had that 8% drop. I think one thing it proved is politics just gets overhyped by the media and has nothing fundamentally to do with equity markets. I was a little bit more surprised after the Senate runoff in Georgia that the market kind of ignored that. So that was a little bit surprising to me. But the direction of the market post-election has not surprised us. We think we are going to have one of the biggest years in the market in certain asset classes this year in 2021.
Eddie, do you think that's possibly just because we're so close to 50-50 that the far left won't be able to really get their policies put into place?
That's exactly it, Dave. We feel like any policy or taxes that are going to be passed is going to have to be somewhere in the middle in order to pass. And somewhere in the middle will be welcomed by Wall Street. And so this election has no concerns in regards to the direction of this market for us over the next 12 months.
Great. Well, when we come back, we want to ask you about some of the risks you see in the market today, as well as your best advice for our income generation viewers and listeners. So, Eddie, stay with us, please. Jeff, and you stay with us too. We have a lot more coming up right here in just a moment from our good friend, Eddie Ghabour. Stay with us. We'll be right back on the Income Generation. Welcome back to the Income Generation. I'm David Scranton, and I have a lot of fun today because I feel like this is one of our semi-annual market study groups, because I'm here with my good friend Jeff Small, and I'm also here with our good friend who's with us twice a year in these study groups, Eddie Ghabour. Eddie is Amazon best-selling author, and he's also the co-owner of Key Advisors Group in Delaware. So, Eddie, because I haven't gotten to meet with you really since November to hear your words of wisdom on all of this stuff, tell us, what do you think? Where do you see the biggest risks being in 21 when it comes to the market, and whether it's things that could trigger it, the whole market in terms of a downturn, or whether it's even some sectors you think that might have more risk?
You know, from an overall risk perspective, we do think that anything that's not interest rate sensitive is going to probably have a pretty big year because of the amount of liquidity that's been pumped into the system. And when you see the VIX breaking down to where it is, we think the VIX will be under 20 this year. So overall, the risk assets we think are going to have a big year. The things that are going to surprise people could be potentially things like REITs, utilities, things that are sensitive to interest rates rising, because the 10-year could be, won't surprise me to have it hit at 1.5 to 1.7 this year. I think the biggest risk is people not de-risking as this bubble is forming. Okay, as bullish as I am, I recognize that we are forming a bubble in asset prices. And if you're on the other side of the trade when that bubble bursts, you're in trouble. So
that's why you wrote the book, Common Sense Bull, right?
That's right.
So, Eddie, now that we've identified some of the threats in the market and some things that can go wrong this year, for the retirement income generation, for our viewers and our listenership, people should not be focused on exclusively on growth. They should also have a combination of income investing. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree completely, Jeff. One of my biggest worries is, and we tell clients this all the time, it doesn't matter how bullish I am on the markets. That's my opinion on the market. Whether you're overly bullish or not should not dictate how your allocation is built, because someone that is retired should have a balance of fixed income and equities. And again, that's my worry, is some people may not focus on their risk management strategy and go overweight risk and get whipsawed and get creamed. So as a retiree, it doesn't matter what a talking head says, you need to tailor your portfolio based on your goals. And we do have a lot of fixed income as part of our clients' portfolios, even when we are as bullish as we are. So I agree 100% with you.
Yeah, and Eddie, you heard John and Jerry in a few minutes ago talk about how, this should be a year where you buy on the dips if you get a reasonable dip, like 10% or so. And I think that's especially true if you're, in spite of the interest sensitivity factor, which you mentioned. I think that's especially true if you're trying to buy dips in the stock market with higher dividend yielding stocks, but also in the bond market, because I don't know. I have to think with Janet Yellen being the head of the Treasury, one of the most accommodative Fed presidents ever, with the Biden presidency, I've got to think that maybe what we've seen now, this spike in interest rates, is really just even a buying opportunity in the fixed income market. But you seem to think that interest rates will continue running up for a bit throughout the year.
I do, just for this year. And I think once we do, we could see a top there because, again, the momentum is moving forward. And as you know, that momentum a lot of times will stretch out longer than we initially anticipate. And then at that point in time, I think we could have an even better buying opportunity in the bond market. But just like stocks, dollar cost average in, because you're never going to hit the top of the range.
Yeah. Okay, so I get it. For income generation members, get their income taken care of first, then use growth once your basic income needs are taken care of. Any final thoughts for our friends and family that are part of the income generation?
Look, again, I think the final thought should really be is focus on what is best for you and your family versus where the momentum is going. I don't think you have to add Bitcoin in your portfolio because that seems to be the hot topic. Focus on risk and everything else will take care of yourself. Risk management and everything else will take care of itself.
Hallelujah. I love it. Again, and that's why you wrote the book, The Common Sense Bull. You literally wrote the book. That's not just a cliche. Eddie, thanks so much for being back on the show. And say hi to Zaza for me, okay?
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, you stay with us. We're not done yet. We have a lot more coming up on the income generation. We'll be right back.